Hello, friends. You have reached a new season of the Occasional Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a ton of awesome stuff to get through. But first, a couple of orders of businesses. First thing I want to mention, of course, is don't forget to check out pt.audio. We've changed the website address, so it makes it a little bit easier to get to. pt.audio instead of part-time audio file, all that stuff. Abbreviated, shortened, there for your reading pleasure. Mark Phillips, who appears on this week's podcast, is the editor-in-chief of that website, and he has tons of information, tons of reviews, and just a multitude, a lifetime of experience to tap into like we did in this podcast if you want to read his written words and see his images. So don't forget to check out pt.audio for more. And as this is a new season of the Occasional Podcast, we will have some exclusive seasonal merch available a little bit closer towards the end of the season. During the holiday season, we'll launch and we'll have all that ready for you guys if you are excited for some of that. So as you know, we go to a lot of audio shows and audio events across the U.S., covering them for the magazine and the podcast and all that good stuff. I wanted to highlight two events that are coming up soon because we haven't had many coming, and here we got some. The first, I'm very excited for a show in San Francisco at Audio Vision SF. Audio Vision San Francisco is having an event in October on the 18th and 19th at 1628 California Street. Well, we will be there. Last year, they had a huge event, and there was so many manufacturers and so much cool stuff going on. So we are heading to that. Very excited to hang out with those guys. The store owners, Antonio and Randolph, are a really cool set of guys. It's always a good time to hang out with them. So keep your eyes peeled for that event. And if you want to come down and join us and see me and hang out and listen to some tunes, come on down and we will hang out. Also, we have Capital Audio Fest coming up in November 14th through the 16th. A huge cross-section of the PT.audio crew will be there providing coverage. This is like my most favorite East Coast show. All that being said, it's heating up. I'm ready for new hi-fi. I'm ready for new products. I'm ready for some awesome times listening to new things as well as my favorite vintage old stuff. Now, with that order of business out of the way, I bring to you the top 10 best-sounding phono carts for 2025. And as we say on the Occasional Podcast, on with the show. Here we go. Mark, let's do this. This episode of the Occasional Podcast is brought to you by AudioQuest. All AudioQuest products, from the company's most modest parts to its most ambitious works of art, are thoughtfully designed to deliver outstanding performance and exceptional value, regardless of price. No matter how little or how much you invest, AudioQuest is made for you. Explore AudioQuest's award-winning cables, power products, and accessories at audioquest.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Pass Labs. For over 3 decades, Pass Labs has delivered unparalleled sound quality. Solid-state amplifiers designed by legendary engineer Nelson Pass and preamplifiers designed by Wayne Colburn come together to bring warmth and transparency to your audio experience. Handcrafted with precision and passion in the U.S., our world-class service department is here to ensure your Pass Labs products bring you joy for years to come. Listen with Pass Labs and discover your music like never before. For more than 25 years, Music Hall has been helping listeners discover and rediscover the magic of vinyl. Their line of turntables is built for every step of the journey, from your very first deck that gets you hooked, all the way to the last turntable you'll ever need. Each model carries the same commitment to musicality, precision, and lasting value. Simple to set up, a joy to use, and engineered to let the music shine. Music Hall turntables make analog playback accessible without ever losing sight of performance. Whether you're just starting your collection or refining a lifelong passion, Music Hall has a turntable designed for you. Find your perfect match at musichallaudio.com. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today on the show. Mark Phillips, editor-in-chief of PT.audio, and myself, Brian Hunter. Mark and Brian together on the podcast again. We're going to give you another one of our very popular top 10 lists. This time it's going to be
Turntable Cartridges.
Mark's Top 10 Table Cards. Mark's Top 10 Table Cards. Mark's Top 10
Turntable Cartridges for your pleasure. The best sounding ones for 2025. Mark, how does the day find you out there?
It is wonderful. It is beautiful here. Sunny, 70 degrees, light wind blowing from the west.
Should have been a weatherman, Mark. Should have
But-
been a weatherman.
Every day is a good day at the lake,
That's right.
even when it's raining.
Now, on to the task at hand. AI has been helping us along with a couple of things. I think, for the most part, when it comes to AI, we are not getting the content that we need in terms of helpfulness. You can even kind of tell, I think, sometimes when AI writes something, but I asked it, hey, how about some jokes? It can't hurt to have a joke in your life, so give me an audiophile joke, because, frankly, there's just not enough audiophile jokes out there. Mark, I got 2 more jokes for you. He doesn't know these are coming. They're not big on laughs, but I still think, hey, audiophile jokes. Let's hear it. Number 1, Mark, why did the audiophile start meditating?
Why did he start meditating?
To find an inner silence with a lower noise floor.
All right, that one's pretty good. That one's pretty good. Close to my heart.
So it is getting...
It's learning.
Yeah,
it's learning how to make us
it's
laugh.
getting
When we laugh,
yeah,
it goes,
yeah.
okay. The algorithm says, good.
Yeah, checkbox. Number 2, why don't audiophiles believe in ghosts?
Why not?
Because nothing in the spirit world images that well.
All right. That one's okay. First one's better.
It's almost too many layers. Too many layers. I got to simplify for the better joke. Yeah, those were terrible. We don't disagree if you thought, but hey, AI, entertainment, audiophile jokes, there you go. So yes, now that is behind us, we move forward to the top 10 best turntable cartridges for 2025. Mark, do you want to kind of lay the land? What thought process went in when you pulled this list out from your wide experience of this year with cards?
Well, I did the same as we did for the turntables. We're looking at right now. I'm not talking about my 10 best in the world, bar none, or the 10 best in history, the classic ones, or everything. We're talking about here now, 2025. What are the best sounding cartridges that are available to audiophiles right now to purchase if they experience them, that are offering something special above everybody else? And that's how we're approaching this list as well.
Awesome. So what do you got for number 10? That's my Casey Kasem voice, in case you were waiting.
Number 10. Okay, so I'm going to have to start off with DS Audio, because DS Audio, in my humble opinion, has revolutionized the phono cartridge market with their line of optical cartridges. A normal cartridge, it creates magnetic field, it moves the magnet and the iron, so the needle in the groove is creating vibrations that get transformed into sound and music. Where a optical cartridge differs is it still has the needle going through the groove, but what it's doing is that it has a light reader that is reading the shadings of the groove and doing it that way. And what we're finding is that sound, it's much clearer. We always talk about veils being lifted from the sound, but the DS Audio cartridges, and there's a whole line of them, and they have equalizers, special equalizers. So you have to have a specialized phono preamplifier to handle this new way of retrieving the information. So DS Audio sells their own, and plus there are other companies like EMM Labs and Meitner and Avic and a few others that are now making these phono stages that handle specifically the optical cartridges. So the top of the line DS cartridges with the equalizer is 60 grand, I think, or maybe even more. But it starts, the lowest price one is $1,375, and I think it's another $2,500 for the special equalizer. So for $4,000, you can jump on this new technology and be pretty surprised. And a lot of the people I talk to say that the difference between that top of the line and the bottom line isn't that big. In other words, you get a lot of that optical cartridge magnet with the E3 as you would for something like the Grandmaster, which is 60,000 plus. But when you listen to these cartridges, it's really difficult to say, okay, is there anything out there that can compete with this? And we're kind of at a crossroads because, first of all, DS Audio, I assume that they have patents because nobody else is making this stuff. Nobody else is allowed to. So there are people that compete it or even reverse engineer it. Everybody I talk to, it's like, what's your favorite cartridge? You mean other than DS Audio? That's the kind of way that that's the way the industry is looking at it right now. This is one of the true revolutions in analog playback that we can honestly point to in the last several decades. And it's really fantastic. It's amazing to listen to. So DS Audio, the entire line would be on my first line. I have not reviewed one yet. Dying to, I can make it happen. I should start making some phone calls because once you hear it, it's kind of hard to talk about other cartridges.
You hear that, DS Audio? Get on it, DS Audio. Dropping the ball.
I need to talk to DS on the phone.
What do you got for number 9?
Number 9 is going to be another entire cartridge brand, which is a little closer to my heart because I've owned 2 of them, and that is Koetsu. And there was a year ago, maybe even less, we were all lamenting the final demise of Koetsu, that it was gone, it was over. But we do have people in place that are trying to resurrect the brand and get it back in there. And it's people who've had experience with the brand before because nobody wants to see Koetsu go away. Koetsu is one of those great classic Japanese brands that just offer incredible sound quality. And for a long time, the most expensive cartridge in the world would always be a Koetsu. And nowadays, I don't even think they come close because there's crazy cartridges out there. But the Koetsu line, I started off with the Black Gold line, which is the entry level one. And I bought that back in, it was 1998 or something like that. And I put it on a Riga P25 at the time. People thought I was crazy for putting a Koetsu on a Riga, but they thought I was crazy until they listened to the sound, which was pretty amazing. And so then I replaced that with a Rosewood, and I've had it ever since I reviewed it. The Koetsu Urushi Black, which is a middle of the line. The Urushi is they are lacquer models. Basically, you have the standard Koetsus in the line. Then you have the Urushis, which are all beautiful lacquer artwork on them. So my Urushi is black with tiny little gold flakes embedded. And then from there, you go into the premium cartridges, which are all made from not precious, but gemstones like onyx and jade and coral stone and bloodstone, and these really rare. It's not just for show. Every single one of these bodies imparts a different sound to the cartridge, because most of the cartridges are basically a similar design. I do have the Black Urushi. It's never been picked up again, and probably because Koetsu, nobody knew who was handling Koetsu anymore. But Koetsus are the ultimate cartridge for me for that mystique. When I talk about Japanese hi-fi, there's always this like mystique about the sound that it's interesting. You're not sure what's drawing you in, but you just know that it's something rare, different from other things. And I've heard people talk about, well, they're not the most revealing cartridges in the world, or they're not the best at bass. But the simple fact is that they sound utterly realistic. They're amazing, and called myself a Koetsu man for quite some time, merely because I had never heard anything like them. It elevated my analog rig when I put one on for the first time. When they went out of business, I was bummed. But the other person who was bummed is Garrett Hongo. He is connected with the new owners of Koetsu, and he's doing some reviews, and I want him to do something about the story of Koetsu in the last few years and what has happened and what brought them back from the brink. There's plenty of people out there that have owned Koetsus, know what I'm talking about. Truly special cartridge that will enrich your life as an audiophile.
Number 8.
Number 8 is a new brand from Lithuania. And so I'm mentioning the entire line because most of their models are very similar. The designs are similar. The body materials are different. And so this is AIDAS cartridges, AIDAS. And I had a chance to review one with the J. Sakura Turntable. They're both imported by Jeff Fox of Notable Audio. I had the AIDAS True Stone Gold Web MC, which is $6,000, I think, $6,000 or $7,000. Really amazing card. I loved it. It just had this smooth, beautiful, warm sound that I love. But they have this one cartridge, and I think it's their flagship, but it's called the Mammoth Gold MC. And the Mammoth Gold MC has a body that's made from a tusk of a woolly mammoth. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure about how they're getting them. I mean, I suppose somebody could buy one and make cartridges out of it, but maybe there's a place where there's plenty of mammoth tusks around, laying around on the ground. I don't know. Fortunately, I don't think it's like a rhino horn or anything. But anyways, it was just one of those things where they discovered that the material of the mammoth tusk was just excellent for sound quality. And I've heard the ATIS, several ATIS cartridges on several different turntables, mostly J Sakura. And I always feel like they're the thing in the room, the part of the system that is kind of propelling it into the stratosphere sound wise. And so I have really high opinion of this brand now. I noticed that other publications are starting to come on board and realize what it can do. And I hope nothing but the best for this company. They're really nice people and they make a fantastic product and it looks great. They all look fantastic.
Today's episode of the Occasional Podcast is sponsored by Audio Vision San Francisco. Located in the heart of the city by the bay on 1628 California Street, Audio Vision is a brick-and-mortar retail location that has been delivering some of the best sounds in hi-fi to Northern California for over 26 years. Come celebrate with Audio Vision on October 18th and 19th at their huge in-store listening and learning event with 4 full demo rooms with gear from brands like Goldman, YG Acoustics, Nordos, Inuos, REL, and more. The 2-day event is free to attend, and you can find out more details on their store site, www.audiovisionsf.com. Our friends at ZMF Headphones are sponsors of today's episode. ZMF is a curated collection of various sounds and styles in the form of dynamic and planar magnetic wood headphones, designed by founder Zach Merbach since 2011. ZMF has garnered an A+ recommended component in Stereophile, Headphone of the Year on Headphonics.com, and been a 2-time winner of the SBAF Golden Schlong Award. ZMF Headphones. That's the letter ZMF. HEADPHONES.com. ZMF Headphones is the place to go to check out ZMF's collection and learn more. ZMF, traditional craft and modern acoustics. Today's episode is sponsored by Shit Audio. Shit Audio designs and builds audio components in Texas. Their wide line of amps, DACs, and audio accessories fit any budget, starting at $49. For a full rundown of all their products, visit shit.com. That's SCHIIT.com. Number 7.
Okay, number 7 was an unexpected one for me. This is what I'm reviewing right now, and I've become a big fan of Vandenhol products over the last few years. I reviewed a photo stage, and John McGurk, who's the distributor, sent along a couple of Vandenhol cartridges just so I'd be able to hear a Vandenhol cartridge on a Vandenhol photo stage. And he sent me the Crimson Stradivarius XGW, which I reviewed before a couple of years ago, but I think he's just sending it back to me to compare it because I'm familiar with it. But the other one was the Vandenhol MC1 Special. And the MC1 Special, apparently this is a new version of it. And this is a moving coil cartridge that retails for just a shade over $2,000. I have an Origin Live turntable in for review right now. And I put the MC1 Special, and I thought it sounded like I had put a super expensive cartridge on there. Had a lot of energy. It had a lot of authority. It was very confident in the groove. It sounds great. And I think at this price, at $2,000, it sounds that good. I think that's a cause to celebrate. And it's a cause to kind of throw it onto this list because I'm actually really enthusiastic about it right now.
Number 6.
6 is one a lot of people really dig right now. And I agreed with it. I reviewed it. Again, it's been a couple of years. But this is Hana Umami Red. Hana is a company that just makes great cartridges for what seems like impossibly low prices. Their cartridges start about $400 or $500. I reviewed the $1,200 one. I thought it sounded like a $4,000 cartridge. So then when I get a $4,000 Hana Umami cartridge, what does that sound like? It sounds fantastic. Yeah, I remember the Umami had this open, relaxed sound, and I called it a Bali High cartridge because it just reminds you of relaxing on the shore of Tahiti with desert island system or whatever. With the breeze going through your hair and the palm tree swing, and you're just happy to be there, and it's really open and just lovely in sound. I walk into rooms with very expensive systems at trade shows. You'll walk up to them and there'll be a Hanumami. And these are people who could have put any cartridge on there, any 5-figure cartridge on there, and they go with the Umami Red. And I couldn't agree with them more. I think it's probably one of the best values in high-end audio cartridges right now.
Number 5?
Number 5 is a oldie but good me. This is a cartridge that came out the year I was born in 1962. So that gives you an idea. And it's still a bargain. It's $350, I think. I mean, the prices fluctuate in recent years. It was $229 forever. And so I bought one. We're talking, of course, about the Denon DL103. The DL103 it's a moving coil. You don't think it's going to be that great for the money. And you put on there, it was like, ain't nothing wrong with this cartridge. It's delivering all the things. I mean, if you're really comparing it to expensive cartridges, you will hear a difference. You'll hear a little bit more detail coming from the other cartridge, but you'll still get a lot of analog magic from the Denon DL103. And the good news is there's a whole cottage industry out there of companies that mod these. And the biggest way that they mod these is putting on different bodies. And so I have one of the simplest fixes, which is a little aluminum sleeve that fits over the body. You just put it on, pull it off, and it's good. It was $89. It made a big difference. I have a Zoo audio version of the 103 with a aluminum body again. Absolutely fantastic for the money. There's a couple of companies out there that they do all sorts of ornate wooden, different metals, different materials. The original 103 is made from plastic, and a lot of the sonic shortcomings from it are because it's a plastic bodied cartridge. And so when you put something over it, or in some cases you remove the body completely and put on this new one, it just makes huge leaps because the technology behind it, the design behind it was sound at the time, and it's still sound today.
Number 4.
Number 4 is an interesting one. I heard it last year for the first time at a show, heard it once and said, I don't even know what this cartridge is. And all I knew at the time was it was $18,000. And I said, oh, okay. So, but it is the Hyper Genesis. I heard it in Gary Coe's Genesis room on a turntable from the Wand. It was a fantastic sounding cartridge in every way, just so perfectly balanced and smooth and open, and just nothing got past it. It turns out that Gary Coe co-designed this with Mika Huber. I'm probably mispronouncing this name, sorry. But he was an engineer for EMT and Exquisite and Goldenberg cartridges. And so Gary got together and said, I want to design a cartridge based on my design. And so this cartridge manufacturer did it. And it's being made in very small numbers right now. So chances are you may not be able to hear it readily, but if you go to a show and Genesis Advanced Technologies has a room there, chances are you'll find one of these. And I just visited Gary up in Seattle just a couple of weeks ago. And of course he had it playing, sat and listened to it. This is a stunning cartridge, and people if he can get it going to where they're making a lot of them and people are starting to discover them, I think you're going to hear a lot about this cartridge in the future. It's fantastic.
And number 3?
So number 3 is a provisional one because it's another brand that I absolutely love, and I own 2 of them right now. It's Zix of Japan. The problem is that I've been such a big fan. I mean, the magazine is. Richard Mack loves them. Dave McNair reviewed a couple of them. We all agreed that the Zixes are really special, that they're so musical and well balanced. And so I have the Zix, the entry level of Bloom 3, and then I have the Ultimate AirEX, which has been my reference cartridge for a couple of years now. And I love it. I think it's a great cartridge. They're not overpriced. The Ultimate Airy is $3,500. The only problem is that Zix recently redesigned the line, and they do that a lot. They keep the same models, but they give them different kind of designations. So when I bought my Airy, it was the Ultimate Airy. Now all the cartridges, the entire line is called Exceed. So it would be the Exceed Airy or the Airy Exceed, I think. It broke my heart, but I had to remove my Zixes from the buyer's guide because they're no longer available, and we like to feature things that are available. But I'm a Zix guy, and so it's hard for me to not talk about them when we're talking about what I think are the best cartridges, because these are the ones that I actually buy for myself.
Number 2?
Number 2 is a magical cartridge in that it has a very, very unique material for the cantilever made from a cactus needle. And this, of course, is the Soundsmith Hyperion, which is Peter Letterman of Soundsmith. This is his flagship cartridge. I believe it's $8,000. His selling point is that They have to carefully grow the cactus needles. The selection process obviously is very high. He says the most expensive part of it actually is affixing the needle so that it will never come off. There was a lot of research into how to do this. But what's interesting about this cantilever is that there are fibers that run lengthwise through it that provide strength. But at the same time, in between those strands is resin, and resin acts like a perfect damper. So it is an amazing material to build a cantilever out of. And Peter, when I first heard it, Peter said, "We've been making phonograph needles for 70 years, but God's been making them for 10,000 years." And I always like that phrase from him. My experience with them is that I once was lucky enough to do a room share. We needed a cartridge. Peter gave us the Hyperion. He mounted himself, brought his little doctor's bag and set it up for us. And the turntable I was showing off at the time never sounded better than it did with that cartridge on it. And very recently, I noticed that George Cardis has put one on his turntable in the last couple of years. And so he's a big fan too. And then finally, is every time I go into Peter's room at Munich, he brings in the STST turntables from Germany. He's not the official distributor, but he can get them. Going into that room and hearing an STST turntable along with the Hyperion is just a magical rig, one that I would really love to own one day if I could buy anything I wanted.
And number one,
we have another twist. If the Denon DL103 wasn't a big enough twist for you, it's going to be this one, a $200 cartridge. Throw another bone out there for people who are looking for great sound for a little bit of money. But that cartridge, of course, is the Ortofon 2M Blue. And this is a cartridge that I've used on a number of occasions. I put it on a number of turntables. It's a moving magnet. It's going to be the only moving magnet on this list. A $200 moving magnet. And when I put this on a turntable, it's just like, hey, ain't nothing wrong with this one either. It's very, very honest. It has low noise. It's quiet in the groove. It's dynamic. And it's $200 for everybody out there who wants a turntable, wants to get into vinyl, but they're not a hardcore audiophile with a lot of money. What cartridge to throw on there? Just put on a 2M Blue. The 2M line starts with the red, which is $99. I have used that. It's pretty good too for $100. So if you really just want a $100 cartridge, that's the only one to buy, in my opinion. But the blue is $200, but you can keep moving up the line to the bronze, which I think is about $500, and then there's the black, which is $700. And then they are coming out with different versions of the black that push the performance up there, less than $1,000. Other than the fact that they're moving coil, these are amazing cartridges. They're easy to use. They're all you have to do to move between the models is to upgrade the stylus because the bodies are all the same except for the color. So you can upgrade yourself by sliding out the stylus and sliding in the old-fashioned way. It's just every time I hear one, I scratch my head. It's like, wow, this sounds so good. Why are they so cheap? And that's one of the reasons why they're included in this list is because they're another minor miracle in the world of high-end audio. A really solid sounding cartridge for $200.
And you mentioned moving magnet and moving coil. Is it possible that moving magnet cards could appear on the top turntables in the world? Or is it just simply, at least from your experience, that moving coil just is a superior technology in terms of fidelity at the high end of things?
So generally speaking, a moving coil is going to offer better sound quality. It's lower noise because it's lower amplification, it's lower voltage, output voltage. So you're introducing a lot less noise into the signal path. That said, I have heard a couple of moving magnet coils, and the Ortofon 2M would be a good example of this. That sounds surprisingly close to a moving coil for around the same price. One of those would be the Audio Note UK Level 3 IQ. It was the IQ cartridge, Level 3. It's their top of the line. It's a $1,200 moving magnet. Might be the best moving magnet I've ever heard. And I even used it with an Audio Note phono stage. That was moving magnet only because Audio Note is actually a big proponent of SUT, step-up transformers, over just having a moving coil section in your phono amp. When I reviewed the Audio Note system a couple years ago, it had 2+ turntable with a really good arm. The arm was more than the turntable, and yet they gave me the IQ3 instead of one of their very, very highly regarded moving coil cartridges. I just sat there listening. I said, you could have told me it was a moving coil and I might have believed you. It was just amazing performance. And And then there's one other one that has been on my radar for a little while. It's one from Acoustical Systems. And I've been approached a couple times to review one of the cartridges. Can't remember the name, but it's moving coil cartridge, $2,500 moving coil cartridge. And they're saying it's the moving magnet you won't believe is a moving magnet. It's basically the way they're presenting this. Peter Lederman with the Soundsmith cartridges, it's not moving magnet, it's moving iron, but it's also high voltage. And he has come up with some amazing cartridges over the years by sticking to the high output model. All that said, it's not as cut and dried anymore between moving coils and moving magnets. I mean, moving magnet is going to be cheaper. Can you get better performance with a moving coil? Probably, but not universally. And there are some really good moving magnets out there.
When it comes to budgeting for a turntable, we've discussed this on previous shows, but I just want to reiterate it here while we're talking about carts. Do you think that there's a reasonable expectation that if you spend X amount on a turntable, it's a good idea to cut a section out of that for the cart? That being, maybe spend a little less on the overall turntable if you have a specific budget, and then weasel in a more expensive cart than what it might come with.
We've discussed this audiophiles in general, I suppose. Again, that's not cut and dried either. As I mentioned before, I'm the guy who put a Koetsu on a Riga and loved it. The Koetsu cost twice as much as the Riga. I don't know if there's a steadfast rule about how much to spend on the cartridge, just going with whatever works. I've heard a lot of other people that say, however, to buy the best turntable you can afford, and then whatever you want to do for cartridge, you can always upgrade later. But make it so you never have to upgrade your turntable, and then as you move up, you can start spending the crazy. But the thing is about cartridges, you hate to admit it, but they do have a finite lifespan. They're not going to be with you forever. And spending a lot of money on a cartridge these days, you start computing the amount of money you're paying for each play of an LP. Somebody told me, like, this cartridge cost me $5 to play a record. So that's how many you can play until you need to retip it. Dealer friend of mine, my old mentor, Gene Rubin, he didn't sell a lot of expensive cartridges until Koetsu came along, but he used to sell Audio-Technica OC9s to everybody, which was a $400 cartridge at the time. And his thing was you relax a little bit more and you enjoy the music when you're not scared to death something's going to happen to your $4,000 cartridge or your $40,000 cartridge or whatever. So it becomes whatever works. Right now, so what do I have? I have my reference turntable is $5,500, the arm is $2,500, and my reference cartridge is $3,500. I'm not sure if it makes sense to have a cartridge on a turntable that's more than the turntable itself, but like I said, there's no hard, fast rules, so whatever works, I think. I kind of agree with first buy the best turntable you can get, because a great turntable with a good cartridge will sound better than a good table with a great cartridge.
Mark, thank you so much for coming on the show. You got the insights, the ears on everything, and the knowledge, man. I just appreciate you coming on. And Mark and I will be around. Mark, if you want to see more from him, hear more from him, he's on the website doing reviews constantly. And he's got some big reviews coming up this quarter, so he's very excited to share those with you. Mark?
I have some badass stuff in for review right now. And mostly it's digital, strangely enough. No, I'm looking forward to it. And I'm spending time with some Audio Note UK 300B amplifiers. And so I don't know if life can get any better than that. So having fun.
Nice, Mark. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
See ya.
The Occasional Podcast is a production of the Part-Time Audiophile Network, which includes PartTimeAudiophile.com, The Occasional Magazine, the PTA Newsletter, and Audiohead.com. You can stay in touch with us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. The Occasional Podcast is produced and hosted by Brian Hunter, executive produced by Scott Hall at PTA Productions. The Occasional Podcast and its original associated music is monitored, mixed, and mastered on the Focal Trio 6 BE studio monitors. AI songs produced by Udio.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe to The Occasional Podcast on iTunes, Google, Spotify, or wherever your favorite podcasts are downloaded.